Hey mamas, you are listening to the Motherhood is Ghetto podcast. We all know motherhood can be a beautiful thing, but girl, it can also be ghetto. Join me as we discuss some of the best and worst parts of being a mom raising kids, all while trying to figure out this thing called life. This ghetto is a safe space, mamas. So welcome to the hood. Hey mamas, welcome back to another episode of Motherhood is Ghetto. My name is Joy, and how y'all doing out there? If y'all doing all right, you already know what to say. Say amen. I pray you're having a great day and a great week so far. And today's episode is being brought to you a day late. I'm sorry. Amen. Okay. I'm sorry. Um but this is just a day late. So if you were looking forward to an episode on Wednesday, this is actually being recorded on a Wednesday. But I hope that you are well. I hope this episode finds you well. Amen. This episode is going to be pretty special. Today, I just want to talk about my dad on this episode. Um, if you know me, your close family and friend listening, then you already know what I'm about to say. But for those of you mamas that don't know, sadly on October 12th, my dad passed away, and I've been pretty, as far as emotionally, like I've been going through it. Most of it is very internal. Like I've definitely been experiencing like physical grief, like where it's affecting like my body and my energy and stuff like that. And also too like emotional grief and just having like these moments of sadness that is hard to navigate out of. And also too like I've just had like fogginess within my mind and my brain, and it's been hard for me to focus. It's been hard for me to just be like to operate at the level that I normally operate at as a mom and as a corporate worker, and even showing up for this podcast. I really did not want to get on camera for this one. I got a new camera, amen. So I really wanted to try it out, but at the same time, I didn't want to be on camera. But I'm here. I'm feeling a little better today, and I'm here because this community, this podcast really does help me through whatever I got going on over here in my life. So every time I get a chance to be on here is good for me, and I appreciate everyone who tunes in and who listens and stuff like that. So, but I'm here today just to rap about my dad a little bit, if that's okay. Um, if you will allow me the space and the grace to do this on this episode, and you stick around and you listen to the whole episode, I would truly be grateful. If you're sick of hearing about people dying in my life, totally okay too. I can understand, especially if you may be going through your own grief. I can definitely understand. But today I just want to talk about my dad a little bit, if that's all right. My dad, his name was Jackie Lee Sweat, and fun fact, I actually gave my son Solomon the same middle name. So my son's name is Solomon Lee, just like his grandfather. They have the same middle name. And I did that specifically for a reason, because my son Solomon, he was me and my husband's firstborn son. He was my dad's third grandson. So I thought that would be a nice way to pay homage and tribute to him, and give his grandson his middle name. So, full of fun fact right there. Um, he was born in Bakersfield, California, and he lived in California his whole life. and he passed away in Bakersfield, California. So where it started is the same place it ended. And from what I can remember about my dad is my dad was always super chill, fun to be around, but super chill. Um, when I was in preschool, he used to come pick me up from preschool on his motorcycle. My dad was a biker, but at that time he was riding like those well I think they call them crotch rockets. Though like he had a Kawasaki motorcycle. And he used to come pick me up from preschool on his bike, and he'd put me on his gas tank and throw his helmet on me, and we ride off into the sunset. And I remember my friends always thinking that I was so cool because my dad rode a motorcycle and he let me ride on his motorcycle with him. So that was fun. But also I remember my dad being like the neighborhood dad, just a very cool, chill dad. I remember all the neighborhood boys coming over, like to sit, talk with my dad, talk about life, talk about whatever, and him giving them words of advice, wisdom, stuff like that. They cracking jokes and things like that. But also too, I remember my dad, and I talked about this on another episode, but I specifically remember how gentle and kind my dad was with me. And another fun fact, I am the only girl in my sibling family. I am the youngest, and I have 4 older brothers. So while my dad was raising 4 boys, he was also raising 1 girl. And I specifically remember how tender and gentle my dad was with me. Not to say that he was super hard on my brothers, but he raised his son like he knew he was raising boys, but at the same time he was raising a daughter. So I never felt like I was being treated like a boy or raised like a boy. My dad had the self-awareness to know that, you know, yes, I'm raising a house full of boys, but also too, I have my daughter, so there's a different level of parenting that I need to take with her. And don't get me wrong, like it's not like my dad like never yelled at me or anything, because there was times I got yelled at, there was times I got in trouble, but at the same time, my dad always had a firm gentleness with me. And that's something that always sticks out in my mind when I think about him. Another thing I will say about my dad is that he was a constant in my life. I was raised in a 2-parent household, and my dad was very active in our lives. When I say like he was at every athletic game, every music recital, and not just for me, for my brothers too. He just showed up. He was always there and was there to cheer us on, even if we did horrible, if we lost. He was there to give some words of encouragement and somehow blame it on the coach and not on us. So, hey, if my dad says that I wasn't the reason we lost the game, then I wasn't the reason we lost the game. Um, but I just remember him always being there and showing up. And without him even vocalizing that, once we got to be adults and we got to raising our own kids, without him even having to vocalize and tell us like you need to be there and show up for your kids, he was emulating that for us when we were kids. And I'm sure I could say the same for my brothers, but I know for me, like that had a huge impact on how I show up for my kids daily. I don't, if I can help it, I don't miss a game. I don't miss a recital. I don't miss an event. Just as soon as I'm done with this podcast, I'm gonna go pick up my son for his doctor's appointment, and then we go into his little fall festival. and then we go into Genesis Fall Festival. Amen. Because I do not miss an opportunity to show up for my kids. I do not miss an opportunity to spend time with them. And that's how my dad was. And I can remember too because I grew up being a very quiet child. Well, let me backtrack because my mom gonna call me a liar. When it came to me being around my brothers, yes, I was more loud and more vocal because I had to be because I would get drowned out otherwise. But like at school and in public and around people, I was very quiet, very shy. I had nothing to say to nobody, and that's just the way that I grew up. And my dad was sort of the same way. Like my dad was very chill, very calm, really didn't speak unless he was spoken to, but when he did speak, he would capture the attention of everyone in the room because everyone wanted to hear what he had to say. And so even with hanging out with my dad, like me and my dad could hang out for hours and not say a word to each other and just simply enjoy being in each other's company and that be enough for us. I know one of my brothers, he would talk to my dad almost every day on the phone and they would have conversation. And that was something that I could never do. Not because I didn't want to or anything like that, or he didn't want to. It's just that I really don't have much to talk about, like when it comes to sports and all the stuff that they would talk about. So there would be times where, like, when my dad would come visit, that we would just sit in my living room and just share space together. And that was the best for us. Like, we just loved to be in each other's company. And even as a kid, I there were things that I talked about. There were things that I talked to my dad about, but a lot of the times we would just sit in silence and just be in each other's company or be driving or going around the neighborhood looking for cans to recycle for extra money or going to the park and watching him shoot basketball. Like that stuff was amazing to me. And that's how I strive to be for my kids. And I don't care what we're doing because every moment that I'm with you is a blessing. And that's the vibe that it gave even as a kid. Like I was like my dad wants to be around me at a time where I felt like no one wanted to be around me. My brothers didn't want to be around me. I really didn't have a lot of friends. So just knowing that like my dad was a person that enjoyed my company and I didn't have to do anything special for it, like it was great. And even into adulthood, knowing that like I grew up with a dad that was very active in my life, it really shaped and molded how I present myself to my kids and how I show up for them. And I hope and pray that my kids are are aware of that and appreciate that because like I said, it wasn't anything that my dad had to tell me. It was something that was modeled for me all throughout my childhood and it just rolled on into my parenting. And another thing that I want to touch on as far as like what he values that he instilled in me is that my dad always used to say, right is right and wrong is wrong. You do right by the people who you love and the people who matter to you, and you do right by people in general. You don't do things to be shifty, shady, like you just don't. And when you're trying to weigh the a situation of right versus wrong, and you take a look at the situation and you're like, damn, that was wrong. And if you're the person that's doing the wrong, then you need to own up to that. You need to be man or woman enough to be like, hey, I messed up. My bad. How can I make it right? And that's a value that I carry with me to this day. And I teach my kids the same thing. I tell my kids, like, if someone's done wrong by you, like, it's important that you speak up, but also too, it's important to know why that was wrong, and my dad was really good with that. My dad was very good at explaining why something was right and why something was wrong, and how to identify when, like, you need to speak up and express, like, "Hey, this wasn't right." Or on the flip side, if someone is trying to talk down or condemn you for something that you know is right and you're doing it right in the situation, when it's time to speak up for yourself also. So, yeah, that's something that's always stuck with me, and I can vividly hear his voice saying it to me, like, right is right and wrong is wrong. So, um, but yeah, it's only been a few weeks, but I already miss him. I miss him a lot, and it's it's because, like, my dad has always been a part of my life. He's been a constant in my life. I don't know a life without my dad in it. And I know, we all have our day and our time when we leave this earth, and it doesn't make it any easier. It doesn't make it any easier, but I am super grateful that I got 39 years with that man, and I got to experience his love and his parenting, his grace, his humor, his personality. I'm so grateful that I had a dad like him. And I'm not saying my dad was perfect because he wasn't, but he was perfect for me and he was perfect for my family. And I'm truly going to miss him. I'm going to miss him until the day that we meet again. I'm going to miss him a lot. And one thing that's been pretty tough for me to navigate in this part of the grief stage is I'm grieving as a child, but I'm also grieving as a parent because I'm devastated that my dad had to leave this earth. But at the same time, I know that my kids are grieving too. The night that I got the call that my dad had passed away, I was crying, sobbing uncontrollably. Like, I didn't know whether to stand up, sit down, fall on the ground. Like, I just didn't know. And in that moment, I was like, I don't know who to call. Like, I don't know what to do. And I wanted to, in my head, like, I'm thinking, like, I need to, before I tell my kids this, like, I need to calm down. But something in me was just like, no, like, you need to tell them now. And when I went to go, like, walk to Genesis' room, I hesitated because I was like, I don't want her to see me like this. And they've seen me like this before with their dad. And I could see the look in my kids' faces, like they were really scared. So I didn't want to scare them again. But at the same time, it was like I need somebody. Like I need somebody right now. And when I woke up my daughter and I'm crying and she bro, God bless Genesis, amen. Baby girl, if you listening, God bless you. Because the way she switched into to I don't want to say mom mode, but the way she her maternal instincts kicked when she saw me crying, like her instinct to want to take care of and protect, like I could see it in her face, and she was like, "Mom, what's wrong?" And I told her, I said, "Poppy passed away." And she immediately embraced me and said, "It's gonna be okay, Mom. It's gonna be okay." And I'm just sobbing uncontrollably, like I'm just a wreck. And in the midst of all that, her demeanor is very calm and very comforting. Now, I would love to say, like, it's because of the way that I raised them and how I am with them. I would love to say that, and I hope that that's true. I really hope that that's true because it lets me know I'm doing something right, but I just love her for that, and when I told my sons, Solomon is not the type of person to initiate a hug or an embrace, but he just reached out and gave me a hug, and he didn't try to like pull away like he normally does. Like he held on to me, and it was just a moment where I was like, my God, like I'm going to have to grieve as a child who's lost their parent and a parent who has children who have lost their grandparent. And knowing that my kids have been through this before and know exactly what I'm going through, and now I'm experiencing what they've experienced, like, man, it just all hit me at once. And over the last couple weeks, I've been thinking, like I said, like I feel so blessed to have had my dad in my life for as long as I have. And, him being there for me, being a constant in my life and being there for my high school graduation and seeing me into adulthood and being there at my wedding to give me away along with my brothers and being there for my children after each of them were born and being with me through my adulthood as well. I know that that's something that my children won't get to experience. So I grieve for that too. While I'm thinking about my dad and the memories and stuff, my daughter won't have the chance for her dad to walk her down the aisle and give her away if she ever gets married. My sons won't have their dad to help them or teach them how to tie their tie for their prom or their homecoming dance or if they're taking a lady out. Their dad won't be there for the milestones that my dad was there for me for. So I'm grieving for that too, y'all. And and it's only been because of the grace that my kids have shown me that I've been able to show up in a manner where I can still grieve as a child, but also to help them grieve as their parent. My kids have been so gracious. They've given me so much space and grace. The other day, I sent them a text in our little family group chat, and I was like, y'all, I really want to cook dinner today, but I just can't. And I'm sorry. I'm just really sad right now. So would you guys be okay if I got y'all McDonald's? And they were like, it's okay, mom, we understand. And they just all like came together collectively and comforted me and were was showing me gratefulness and thankfulness for buying them dinner and just gave me all the feels, y'all. And that's what I think that is important during this time is even though the grief for me is hitting hard right now, I can't be absent-minded of the fact that my kids are also grieving too. So it's kind of like we're having to work together to get through our grief and the different stages that we're at in it. And I'm okay with that as long as we're together and we're doing it together. And I know they miss their poppy too. So the holidays and stuff are going to be different. And I'm just hoping that we have the strength and the courage to get through this together. So, yeah, I probably could talk on and on about my dad, but I'll go ahead and land the plane here. But before I do that, I want to share another fun fact with y'all about my dad. So, um, also too, my dad named me. My dad gave me my full name. And those of y'all that know me, y'all know my full name, but I'll share it on the podcast. My full name is Joy Ann Bessie Marie Sweat. And my dad told me the reason why he gave me all those names. And it was actually supposed to be my first name. My full first name is supposed to be Joy Ann Bessie Marie. And it was written that way, but my mom looked at the little birth certificate form he filled out and was like, this is not about to be her whole first name. So she did some things and made some of it my middle name. And one hyphen later, I have a middle name now, but my dad named me Joyanne Bessie Marie. And he said he named me Joy because he was so happy that he had finally got a girl after having 4 boys. He finally had his girl and he was very happy. So he named me Joy. And then Anne is my maternal grandmother's name. So that's my mom's name. So he named me after her. And then Bessie is his mom's name. His mom died when he was very young. I believe he was only 2 years old when he lost his mother. So he wanted me to have her name. So one of my names is Bessie. And then Marie is my mom's middle name. So he said that he wanted me to have the name of all the women who were important to him in his life and who he loved. So that's where I get my name from. And everyone everyone that I meet always tells me when I tell them that my name is Joy, they always say that like your parents got it right. Like your parents like nailed it on the head like when they named you. And I'm like, that's cool because my dad named me. And they're always like, well, he did a great job in naming you. Like your name fits you, it suits you. So shout out to my dad for giving me the name that he gave me because I really do. Everything that I do in life, I operate from a space of joy because as much as I want to be sad and doom and gloom when things go wrong in my life, I really can't stay that way for long because there is a spirit of joy in me. Like I can honestly say without a shadow of a doubt, there's like a spirit of joy in me to where, yes, I'll feel sad for a moment, but then I'm always finding the happy parts of the sadness or the grief or the turmoil or just the chaos. I'm always looking for and seeking joy. And that's how I've always been. That's how I've always operated. So I would agree. I would concur that I got a good name and it was for all the right reasons. So I appreciate that and I feel truly blessed. Um but yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and land the plane here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today, giving me the space to just talk about my dad a little bit. And yeah, just know that if you're going through something similar, you are not alone. And it can be very hard to navigate grief when when you yourself are experiencing the grief, but you're also having a children to take care of or a household to run. You know, you still got to get up, go to work to pay the bills, and all you want to do is just stay in bed and cry all day. I know how it feels. I'm there. But I would encourage any moms that are going through this right now to give up that narrative or that idea that you have to be strong because you don't have to be strong during this time. You need to grieve in a healthy way, but you don't need to be strong for everybody just so that way they feel better. I encourage you to lean on the people who give you strength and who encourage you. And sometimes that could be your kids. Not saying to unload and dump everything on them, but when you're having a bad day, be honest about it. Tell them, hey, mommy's not at her best today. Like, I don't really feel like going to the park today. I'm sorry, but I just need some time to myself right now. And I think that that's going to be the most important thing that you can do during a time like this, if you're grieving the loss of someone, but also having to, continue to be that parent and that pillar in your family. It's really going to be important that you're honest with the people around you. So that way you're not overextending yourself and you're giving yourself the proper space and grace to grieve. So, for real this time, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and land the plane here. Thank you so much for tuning in. And if you're not already, please go ahead and follow me on Instagram at motherhood_ghetto. I post there. You can DM me there if you have any questions or topics on motherhood you'd like me to discuss on the podcast. Also, too, don't forget to follow the podcast. We are on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and also we are on YouTube. So if you follow the show on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, you'll be notified every time I upload a new episode. And also, too, go ahead and subscribe on YouTube so that way you can keep up on YouTube. If you really don't do podcast apps, you can also listen on YouTube as well. But yeah, thank you so much. And until next time, mamas. Thank you so much for listening to today's podcast. Don't forget to follow the podcast and share with anyone who you think may enjoy it. And follow me on Instagram at motherhood_ghetto. Also, feel free to DM me if you have any experiences, opinions, or views on motherhood you'd like me to share on the podcast. Until next time, mamas.